let me just introduce Sally Mitchell. Sally and her now husband, Jeff, run, is it S4J? SJ4, and she will tell you much more about that. Sally is a consummate flipper and designer and stager and all-around nice gal, and she's got a lot. I mean, she does beautiful kitchens. I've seen bunches of them, and you'll see some pictures here today. So we're very proud to have you with us today, Sally. So I'm going to give you the clicker and get your slide set up. And
all right, so the name of our company is SJ4 Ventures. We also have a DBA named SJ4 Homes. I'm Sally Mitchell, and let me tell you a little bit about Jeff and I. So my experience is in sales and marketing, and about 2012, I left. I'd been working in selling electronics for years, and I left that and became a realtor. I got my realtor's license, and Jeff and I opened our company, SJ4. So my background is on the design end. My first job was with an interior designer, and it's always been my passion. The real estate end is great for me. It helps me buy and sell our own houses, so I love doing that. Jeff is on the project management end. His experience is all in mechanical design, and he has been a project manager for much, much larger projects. His company work, he was project manager of like $80 million companies, or excuse me, $80 million projects. So he does the same thing that he did then, but he does it on a smaller basis now with us. Jeff left his job full-time about 2 years ago and works strictly for SJ4, and he does the evaluating the properties, estimating the repairs. He does all the CAD work to lay out the properties. He does the scope of works and manages all the contractors. So he's a busy man. And what we do is a lot of what everyone here does. We are a full-service real estate solutions company. We buy distressed houses and renovate them and resell them. And the other part of our business is that we provide investors with strong returns on their investment. So when I'm here tonight, I don't have exactly kitchen trends for 2018. What I have is designing for flippers. When we're designing, like people say, there's not a lot of design in the flipping end, but there really is. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about the trends and the wow factors and things that I do to help make our houses nice and sell really quickly. So the first thing is, why do I design it all? I want them to look expensive. But obviously, because we're in the flipping world, we got to keep the cost down. So a standard flip, when you look at it, the bathrooms and the kitchens, they just need to be updated. And you might look at this and say, the kitchen's not that bad. Maybe it needs put granite there instead of laminate countertop, or maybe you want to just paint out the cabinets or change the whole cabinet, change the cabinetry altogether. And in the family room there, a basic flip, maybe you're just going to paint the paneling, or you'll remove it and do the whole fireplace over. What we do is heavily distressed properties. So we usually do complete guts. That one's a little bit extreme. They're not like that. But we usually do complete guts. We do kitchen renovations, bathroom renovations. We do a lot of layout changes and additions. The main thing about flips, whether you're doing a small one in the 100, 200 range or like the $500,000 range, is no matter what, you have to assess the ARV. That's critical, because if you go 20,000 either way, you probably lost your profit. So what you want to do is determine the ARV and define your budget, and then that's where I pick out some of that budget that I want to use on what I call wow factors. One of them is we budget in staging. I stage every one of my houses, and I really believe that helps them sell a top dollar and quicker. So what I'm talking about tonight is some of the wow factors. So no matter what you're doing, if it's at the lower end or $100,000, $200,000 house or the $500,000 house, there are things that you can do in every one of these houses to allow you to get more bang for your buck. First one is really simple, open spaces. Everyone now wants an open floor plan. So if you're doing $100,000 to $200,000 renovation, maybe what you want to do is just open up the wall between the kitchen and the dining room. That's really common. People love it. Another one is paint. You might not be able to do a lot of things, but painting, pick one neutral color and go all the way through the whole house. You know, I do different colors in the bathrooms, always light colors, but one neutral color through the whole house will really help sell the house. Cabinetry, well, I'm always changing my cabinetry. You know, some cases at a low end, maybe you'll paint it out, but I usually change all the cabinetry. Granite, I'm certainly not using high-end granite. I use level 1 through 3, but I have certain ones that I picked out that look really, really high-end. Lighting is extremely key. If you walk into so many flips when you first buy them, you're going to see houses that are dim. There might be like one light hanging in the middle and it has like one bulb in it and you can barely see around. As soon as you put recessed lighting in, it is a dramatic difference. Between painting and recessed lighting, you know, on a low-end flip, those two things are critical. Flooring, same thing. You don't have to spend the maximum amount. I can do hardwood in some houses, but quite honestly, most times we're using laminate, and we'll use a 12mm hand scrape laminate, so it looks rich looking, but it's not that expensive. And for tile, what we try to do is maximize the wow factor for the minimum amount of profit or cost. So I might use the marble mosaics in my showers. I'll use them for the niches and the bands. But for the most part, I use porcelain. I use a porcelain tile that's Carrara marble. It looks like Carrara marble, so the high-end impact, it's really a nice finish, but it's porcelain and it's very inexpensive. So I think the key is just trying to use the expensive things in a small amount. Certainly I use appliances in all of our flips. I get them from Best Buy, Patrick back there. And I think that really does add extra value to the houses because people, when they buy the house, they've spent all their money and don't necessarily have the money to buy the appliances afterwards. One last thing, extra wows. So when I say extra wows, what I'm talking about is what are the little things that you can do that differentiate your house from other houses? I buy pendant lighting and a lot of my lighting online. I am a huge fan of Amazon. Not that I don't use Home Depot and Lowe's, but quite honestly, their pricing is higher. I can get really nice pendant lighting for probably half the price, and it's not, you don't see it in every house. It's not the standard, you know, one that you can get at Home Depot. So I really like doing that. Another wow factor is a wine cooler. It's $200. And I'm telling you, people think they've gone to heaven when you have a wine cooler in the kitchen. Suddenly it's like the entertaining space. So I think that's another wow factor that can be used. One thing I want to talk about is scaling the design. So, you know, we can't all do wow factors everywhere, and we don't all have the money to. So here's a bathroom. It's an ugly bathroom, but if you take a look at it from the point of view of, okay, what if it's a $100,000 house or a $150,000 house? Obviously, you don't want to spend the money and do everything. So I look at it and I think, okay, it has tan floor, and actually the tile doesn't look in that bad condition. So maybe I'll just regrout it if I can. The walls are horrible because that dirty black grout and all that, the small squares of tile, it really looks bad. So what I would do is use a product, it's a reglazing product. You know, I don't know if anyone's heard of it. I use One Day Bath, but there's a lot of places like that. And glaze that entire thing white. So then you have a tan floor, a white glazed tile that'll end up looking really nice. Paint a color on the wall to match the tile, like a tan. Change out that door to a white panel door. And if you don't even want to change out the vanity, just paint it out white. And suddenly that bathroom will take on a whole new look for a very inexpensive cost. Of course, if you're in a $500,000 house, you're probably just going to gut the whole bathroom, but that's a way to scale your design. Now, the next couple pictures I'm going to show you are pictures that we have from some of our flips, and I'll just walk you through them kind of quickly, but it'll show you some of the little things that we do. So you're going to see befores too, so they're pretty different. This house was an old moldy foreclosure house that we got, but it was only in the $250,000 range. So we can't change a lot. What we did was we opened it up but we used the same exact floor plan. We added new cabinets, new flooring, and, inexpensive appliance package, and a new backsplash, but it does make a dramatic difference. This is another house that's approximately the $250,000 range, and believe it or not, when I say these are wow factors, every wow factor has to be based on the price of the house. So in this house, a wow factor is actually the fact that we're including appliances, putting all the kitchen cabinets in, all new cabinets, all new granite, new flooring. It really makes the house look nice. This is the same house, and you can see the difference. How dark it was before, adding recessed lighting throughout makes a huge difference. Obviously, staging it is the biggest difference, and then we always open up the floor plan wherever we can, and just makes it feel so much more open when you don't have that small entryway to the kitchen. Oops, wait. Okay. This is another house that we did. Now, you might look at this house and think, oh, it's not that bad to begin with. So depending on the price of your flip, maybe that's okay. This happened to be in a $500,000 house. So, we can't use a fluorescent light. We can't use cabinetry with a soffit at the top. We can't use the scalloped edges. We're trying to get, top dollar for this house. So we put in all new cabinetry, marble backsplash, some of the wow factors are the pendant lighting I was talking to you about. We did sorry, I'm losing my words here. We did the oven, the range hood, and the stainless steel. We did the pot filler, and that's the other thing, the pot filler. People go crazy for a pot filler. I bought it on Amazon for pot filler is to, you have it at your stove so that you can fill water right into your pots at the stove. And they can be very expensive. I bought it on Amazon. I think it was like $50 or $60. I mean, it's really not that much to do, but especially if you have a plumber already putting water in your kitchen, has to be on a right wall. It has to be on an inside wall, not an outside wall. But it's an added wow factor. This is the other side of that same kitchen. Here's a wow factor. People have these pantries. The pantries have a depth of like 12 to 14 inches. They're literally useless. So we take them out and put in its place, it's like building cabinetry. And again, through the wine cooler it adds just as much space or more than the pantry, and it really looks great, and suddenly you have a nice entertaining kitchen versus the old kitchen with the ugly pantry. Oh, sorry, let's keep jumping. So this isn't kitchen design, but this is another thing that you can do, and it's very easy. So before is the bedroom, and then when we purchased the house, what we did was, it still has the same vaulted ceiling, but we added the beams. You know what the beams are? They're wood boxes. They're wood boxes painted in the same paint that we paint the trim. It looks amazing, and it's very inexpensive. We also added a recessed lighting, which we always do, and a light in the middle, and this one we happened to do a barn door. So it was a big, dramatic difference, and really relatively inexpensive. This was not that inexpensive. This is the bathroom that went with it, and what we did here was, again, opened up the walls. So it used to be one of the old-fashioned bathrooms that had the vanity on one side, then you go through another room, and that's where the tub is, and it was the old corner tub, and it had a shower and a toilet in there. We took out the corner tub and put in the new freestanding tub. We also used the white cabinetry, Carrara marble, pretty tile. So this was a definite upgrade. And this house was a $500,000 house, and it sold very quickly. That's pretty much it for wow factors. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, sorry.
Come to the microphone, please.
Light is bright.
A couple questions. So the wine cooler is impressive because it's very different, but what happens when people aren't drinkers or don't like wine or wine coolers? I mean,
How about a mini fridge?
have you pulled them out for people in order to sell it?
No. I've never had anyone ask for one to be pulled out.
Okay. What's been your experience with kitchen cabinet manufacturers?
I have a fabulous guy that I use. His name is Alex, and he's right here.
All right,
and he's going to
okay.
be speaking next. He is great.
Your paint finishes, semi-gloss, gloss,
I
black.
use a matte.
And what's your opinion of one-piece tub showers?
Oh, like a fiberglass that you would set in there? I have no opinion on that. I don't like them at all.
So if you bought a house and had one in,
I would take it out.
You'd take it out?
Yeah. Of course, again, I shouldn't say that. It depends on the cost of the flip. If it's not in the budget, then you live with it, you know? But they're kind of out.
And the last question is the barn door. Do you only use them on the bedrooms?
I love barn doors, but they're kind of, trendy, I'll say. So it's something you don't have to use. It just kind of fit there in that purpose. It doesn't have to be a bedroom, and you could use it, or bedroom into a bathroom. You could use it anywhere. Just depends on if you have a place that has a big enough
Does it give you the
wall.
privacy that people expect?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
They're
Thank you.
popular. Sure, thanks.
What kind of
Yes.
barn, oh, come on now.
Thank you for taking time to sharing some of your ideas.
Sure.
I liked all the styles. They were great. I'm sure they are selling, making the property sell well. I noticed in the $500,000 house where you had the pot filler and that really nice hood over top, where's the microwave? Over the stove microwave? Or are they stuck having to put it on the countertop?
No, it's, okay.
Yeah, I was looking for it. I just didn't see it.
That's because let me see if I can put it up here. It's next to the fridge. There is actually like a low cabinet with a counter, and the microwave's above it.
Okay, so it's not taking up countertop
Nope,
space.
not
Okay,
taking up
so you're
counter
getting
space.
out of the way. Okay, great.
We actually just did another house, and we ended up doing the same thing. We did a big hooded stove, so we built it into the cabinet.
And those cabinets is where the wine cooler is, they're what, like shallow 12-inch cabinets?
No, they are 21-inch cabinets, I think.
Okay, so you built them into the wall then, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really nice, and it's a much better use of space than the pantry.
It's totally, and it bumps out a little bit, but really you're right in line with the refrigerator, and it really adds a lot of value.
It's a great looking kitchen, and I think your upgrades are excellent.
Oh, thank you. Anyone else have questions?
Yeah, Sally, can you? So I'm old enough to remember mustard yellow was the in color and olive green was the in color, and now I see a lot of white. When will white become no longer the in color, and then what's next?
Are you talking about for the actual cabinets?
Yes.
So
Well, and
I'm thinking white's already heading out, to be honest with
white
you.
is heading out, you said?
Not completely, but what they're doing now is adding color to it. So, like, for example, the next house that I do is going to be white, and I'm doing a blue island. And you might think blue, but I don't know, did you bring blue? Yeah, it's actually a very popular. So blues and grays. So I think the trend is moving towards doing, if you not just white, but adding another color in, that's where I see things.
I have another question, if I can.
Sure.
On the left picture, you have the soffit that just wall-boarded in, and on the right picture, it looks like the cabinets go all the way up to the ceiling.
Correct.
There's a third option, which I've seen, where the cabinets are at the same height as on the left side, but it's just air above the cabinets. There's no actual soffit.
I know what you mean, and people used to put like baskets and stuff up there, right?
Right. What's your feeling about taking the cabinet all the way to the ceiling or stopping it?
I like it all the way to the ceiling.
Yeah.
I think that people like the extra space, extra storage, and find that if it doesn't, it's like a dust collector.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Okay. Anything else?
Any other questions?
All right.
Okay.
Well, here's Alex then.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, there's one more question?
Sorry, latecomer.
Wait, there's a question here. Go ahead. Yep.
The hardware that you
Get closer to the mic, please.
The hardware you're using for your cabinets, your doors, and doorknobs, gold is out, right?
Gold is not out. My next
Well,
house that I just put on the market this week has gold finishes.
Okay, well, it's out of my house.
Oh, wait a minute. But there's a different kind of gold. We're not talking about the old-fashioned brass. That's out. That kind of gold.
It's probably what I have. So the silver and also the black is kind of the in thing now. I see the white and the black would probably look pretty good with that.
Yeah, black, a lot of the looks are like the farmhouse look, and I'll do not only black hardware, but black grout. Well, not black, like darker grout with whiter. That was one more thing I was going to say is that when you talk about trying to save money, I tend to use porcelain a lot. So even backsplashes, when you put, this is an expensive backsplash. It's going to run you like, I don't know, Jeff could say it better, but probably, this isn't in sheets, but in sheets, the marble's more like $25, $20 to $30 a sheet. So porcelain, you can get the sheets, a 12 by 12 sheet, $6 to $10. So you get a beautiful design in porcelain, put a nice grout with it, and it looks great. I mean, that's one way to save a lot of money. Yeah.
Gary, come to the mic, please.
This mic?
Brushed nickel or oiled bronze?
I use both. Depending on the house, I use both. Either is good. I use chrome too, so. And also, I get all my hardware online and Amazon. It's the cheapest way to go.
And easy to return.
Yeah, I usually don't return it.
By the way, there's an app that I just heard about called Brandy or something like that. Somebody must know it, where it keeps track of your purchases, and if Amazon lowers its price, then you get 75% of the lowered price for the item that you previously bought within 90 days, and this company gets 25%, but that's, you weren't going to get that anyway, and it's automatic, completely automatic. I'll try to find the name of the app.
Yeah, that's good, because I have bought things on Amazon, and the price is always different each time.
Yeah.
But anyway, here's Alex.
Wait, there's a question here?
Oh, I'm sorry, Alex.
You'll get there, Alex.
Go ahead, Alan, and I'll ask why you walk. How's that?
Yeah.
Then that will be the last question.
Okay.
All right. At the International Builders Show, they were saying that people are big on fireplaces in the kitchen, in the family room, even in the bedrooms, bathrooms. Have you thought of doing fireplaces in the kitchen?
Not in the kitchen. I mean, I haven't had.
Well, but I mean in the kitchen area, like where you have an island and, you have an entry to the kitchen and there's a fireplace.
If I could, if it fit the house, sure. So I have a friend who has a big kitchen with a family room on the other side, and she has a fireplace that's a double-sided fireplace, so it's seen on both sides. If it fit the space, sure, I would definitely do it.
Right.
I love fireplaces.
But you're not making that a...
No, it's not something I'm planning on, no. I mean, I'm lucky enough to put in a fireplace. At the house we're going to be working on next, we're actually building a wall and making a place for a fireplace, but it's going to be not like an electric one or something.
Well, they have very nice electrics that change color and stuff.
Yes, that's what we're looking at.
And there's also the jellied fuels.
For propane, right?
No, for alcohol.
Oh, okay.
Eco, Smart, and a few others. But anyway.
All right, thanks.
But before Alex comes up, can I ask another question?
Yeah.
Don't worry, Alex. We'll give you time. I want to go back to backsplashes and floors.
Okay.
And so you talked about something about backsplashes, but what do you think about subway tile? I mean, sort of like run through the choices of backsplashes and which ones do you feel are in now, and what do you think will be in the next 12, 24 months in terms of customer appeal?
Subway tile is really popular, and it's also kind of inexpensive, so it's always a good choice. But I tend to try to go a little bit more different. Like, I don't want to have the same house as everyone else. There's something called arabesque, which is a design I really tend to like, and I use that a lot. I also like chevron, which is tiles that go like this way and this way, if you know what I mean. I'd have to show you a picture. But so,
Herringbone.
like a herringbone, yeah. So those are kind of things that I like, but you can pretty much, use anything. I mean, to be honest with you, one of the best places I go to Floor and Decor, and I don't know if any of you guys use that, but they have a huge variety, and not only do they have a huge variety, but they have a big area that has displays and samples, so you can get an idea of what it looks like. So I would suggest going there.
And on flooring,
Glass tile, like the gray, or you talking about the small glass tile? Yeah, I like them. Just depends on the house. Some houses, I walk into a house and I get a feel. Like, is it a more modern feel, or is it a farmhousey feel? And that's kind of how I do my design.
flooring, hardwood, laminate, or sheet goods?
Well, hardwood's always the best, but it's very expensive, and I only did it in one house because we had to match up flooring. For the most part, we'll use laminate.
Okay. And last comment, and actually, I don't know if you've ever seen any of Jacob's flips, but he uses these wireless under cabinet spotlights. They're just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Have you ever used, what do you think of that?
I haven't really used them, but I would agree. I would love to use them. We're just always where our budget will allow.
Well, let's see. Was it like $19 at Costco or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty
We'll have to
inexpensive.
look into it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, but it's great for the show.
Great for the show.
That's right.
Yeah.
Give them a couple extra batteries, right?
All right.
All right, let's give Sally a great round of applause.
Thank you.
Sally. Great job. And Alex, give me a minute while I bring up your slide deck. While I'm doing that, you want to introduce yourself?
Hey everyone. Oh boy, this is loud. Great to see so many familiar faces. My name is Alex Ankudovich. So that's the last name. Originally, I'm from Belarus, used to be part of Russia before. Came to the United States in 1998, so recently celebrated 20 years. I've been here more than I've lived in Belarus, so that's pretty interesting. So yeah, I've been around kitchen cabinets for a few days, going on 15 years now, I think. So some people ask me, hey Alex, why are you in cabinets? I'm like, let's see, I didn't like construction. I was doing lots of construction back in the day, and got a job offer and was working inside, and I'm artistic, and I like to draw and all of that, so that kind of came in pretty quick. So cool deal. Let's see here. I have a lot of questions that you guys were asking. I actually have the slides for the microwaves, for some other things here, so let's take a look. So as far as the trends, what Sally was talking about, as far as the white cabinets and seeing if white cabinets are going out or anything like that, what we have seen is there's a lot of accent colors that are coming in. So at first it was white cabinets, then it was gray cabinets, full kitchens. Nowadays, what you will see a lot is a full white kitchen. Cool deal. Well, let's just flip through this. Is it back on? No? Cool deal. I'm just going to skip. If you were complaining about your last style job that you guys had, yeah. Let's see here. That's a little more. I see a lot of crazy stuff when I go out to see houses. This is my favorite plumbing job. Let's see here. Let's skip. So let's talk about some of the things that's been a while. They're always around. When I started some 15 years ago, I used to sell a lot of off-white. Back in the day, actually, it was a lot of off-white with this rope detail in it. I don't know if you guys remember. We sold a lot of cherry cabinets with the rope and all of that. But antique white colors are always in. They're always hanging around. So it's a Beautiful, beautiful cabinet. I do a lot of these. I do a lot of these on a higher end properties. So that's a beautiful, beautiful cabinet. You know, I guess the interesting thing that you guys kind of have to realize that the product that I have is more or less a standard. You know, they're stock cabinets. So this is not custom. This is not even semi-custom, for that matter. You really have to be creative with the standard product. Now, those are great cabinets. There are soft close doors and drawers. There's no particle board and all of that stuff. But they're stock material. So that means you might have, let's say, some 200 SKUs or 250 SKUs per line, and you might not have like this corner bread drawer that was popular back in the day. Nowadays, some people ask for it. You know, I don't have it, but other stuff I'm getting really creative with. So this is a standard cabinet that was, you know, done, and we've created a really beautiful, beautiful kitchen. Some things like just decorative doors on the islands, or some table lags on the islands will just decorate the islands much more. This was a farm sink, but if you see, it was pulled out. Again, nothing custom here. There's just the standard cabinet. There was the space. So you bump it out from the wall 3 inches. Granite kind of comes out. You have the table lags, and it looks really, really good. So that's how you kind of get creative. Another cabinet, white. You know, Sally talked about white, and I remember I used to, oh boy, back in the day, you guys remember white cabinet with like a wooden rail on it, right? It was everywhere. So, you know, white is white, and it's always going to be hanging around. You know, nowadays white is, you know, this big trend, which is kind of going away, and I'll get into some of the other things. But this was a beautiful kitchen in Princeton. This was almost a brand new house that they've done. Just, again, standard cabinets done really, really nicely. Beautiful granite. I think I went back. Hang on.
Alex,
Yes,
on
sir.
that picture there, is it just the lighting, or is the cabinet a different color than the above cabinet a different color than the base cabinets?
I think the sun is just shining through the window on that side a little bit more. And looks like they have few spotlights that are really close to the cabinets. So it's the same color.
So they're the same color, okay.
Yeah,
thanks.
and I took this picture with my iPhone, so anyhow. There's the farm sink, which is pretty popular nowadays. Stainless steel one will probably run you about $350. White porcelain is probably going to be about, I don't know, $800 or something like that. But they're pretty cool. And this is your level 2 brown fantasy granite. So let's see here. This was really interesting also. Again, stock material, right? But we were just trying to be creative with the spacing. You couldn't do a big island with the overhang in the back. There's just not enough space. So we actually did this table-looking thing with the table lags. We dressed it up with a little filler underneath the countertop, and it turned out really, really good. And the contractor made his own top, stained it. Turned out really, really well. This is another one. Gray cabinets. Again, now this is semi-custom. There are a few custom cabinets in this kitchen, but again, for the most part, you don't have to go and, you know, get a custom manufacturer and spend, you know, $25,000 on just the cabinets. This is much more affordable, and it looks really beautiful. So, and again, I realize you guys work in different areas, and, you know, not all of your kitchens will be big. You know, a lot of times you just end up with just an L shape. But this is what you can do if you do come around a really, you know, nice, beautiful, big property. You can do some beautiful things. Let's jump into current trends. I'm just trying to stay on time here. Let's talk quickly about some colors. You know, more or less standard color variations, right? So if you have the white shaker cabinet, you probably will go with a lighter grayish countertop, probably some sort of a darker floor, and something light on the backsplash. This is just a standard, more or less, design. What's been really interesting is I've seen more and more investors switch to, instead of doing granite countertops, they would go for the quartz countertops. Now, for those that don't really know the difference from granite to quartz, granite is natural stone. So it has pores, and you have to seal it once a year, right? That's what's recommended. Now, quartz comes in different, styles, speckles, swirls, whatever. But quartz is man-made material, even though it's considered to be a solid surface, right? But it's something that's man-made under press and vibration. That's how they make it. So there's no pores. It's a maintenance-free product. So if you're in maybe a higher end property, this is actually could be a good marketing or sales point for your future buyer, saying, hey, this is maintenance-free product.
What's the material that binds the quartz flakes together? Is it a polymer, or what is the material?
I wish I had the answer. I'm not that.
Okay, the reason I'm asking is, what about things like cigarette burns or putting a hot pot down or wine stains, that kind of stuff,
Yeah. So,
compared to granite?
Yeah. So naturally, quartz considered to be stronger material than granite because it has no pores. It's heat resistant. With wine, on the brand new finish surface, it's probably not going to damage it, but once you use it a few years, if you're going to get some little scratches on it, I'm sure if you don't wipe it off and let it sit, it'll probably stain just a little. I'm just assuming. And again, depending on the color, on the lighter colors, you might see it, but.
Yeah, I've seen quartz, they're beautiful, but I've seen them burnt with a cigarette. If somebody left a lit cigarette on top of the quartz surface, it'll make a burn mark.
Very interesting.
Corian also, but I was talking about quartz.
Corian is acrylic, so cigarette will definitely damage corian. I've never seen anything like that on quartz.
Okay.
Quartz is, you can put hot pots on it and it will not damage it.
No damage.
So I can't see how a cigarette burn will happen. Again, on corian, yes, but not on quartz. So that's as far as the countertops. Now, white cabinets, they come in all sorts of shapes and styles. So you have your regular shaker. Shaker is just a square edge. Now, this is a white cabinet with a little detail added to it. So I have a few different styles where you have a little OG on the inside or just a little bevel on the inside, and it's really, really popular. This is a kitchen that we've recently done for a customer. It's, again, remember, this is standard stock product. All he has done is bumped out a few cabinets. He was creative with the crown molding, and he did some custom millwork on the island. Other than that, everything else is standard. So you can create some beautiful things. And if you take a look where the cooktop is, there's table legs, and the cabinet is bumped out from the wall. He had the space. It looks amazing. It gives dimension, and it's beautiful. So we do sell a lot of white shaker, but the cabinets with the little detail on the inside, and you can see it here on the table after this meeting. But yeah, so we sell quite a few of those as well. This is your antique white, probably on the brownish side for the countertop, darker floors, some sort of a brownish finished tile, or maybe a mix of glass on the tile backsplash. Now let's go into some of the new trends, something that's really kind of coming in now. So like we talked about before, your white cabinets on the kitchen, and then your center island could be a gray, or nowadays I'll show you some other colors that we're using. So you can see now more and more where just new colors are coming in, just like an accent color, for example. So this is what we were kind of used to, right? You have your gray cabinets, and this is the goldish hardware on it. So this is what we are kind of used to, right? This gray shaker has been around for a while, and it's a painted finish, right? Nowadays, what's coming in is new gray, where you can actually see grain coming through it. So it's not painted anymore. It's stained. And there's different shades of it. I mean, there's another one that's darker with this grayish hint to it. They just did it vice versa here, darker cabinets and the light island. But there are different shades of gray now coming out where you have the light gray. And as you can see the grain coming through the finish. So it's not painted anymore, and it gives a little bit more of that character. So those are interesting, and I have some of those here on the table if you guys want to take a look. We've recently done this. This is in New Jersey, right by Cherry Hill. Personally, I think the floor is a little bit too busy. But I like, the way he did the dark cabinets on the bottom and white cabinets on the floor. And that's what we see a lot nowadays, where people do darker on the bottom and lighter on the top. Just to cover the question, as you kind of can see on this picture, there is that space on the top above the crown molding to the ceiling. And it's interesting. Some of the investors that I work with, they go, look, I can't stand this space. Give me double crown molding and we'll put it up. And it's going to go up to the ceiling. And a lot of investors say, hey, this is just a lot of work. My contractor is not that skilled because crown molding is usually not that easy to do. So they're like, look, we don't care. We're just going to leave the space to the ceiling, and there you have it. So I just have different investors, and they like different things. Yes, sir.
Okay, repeat the question.
Have you put any lighting up there? So it's interesting. Some people do, and just some people don't care. It looks good, beautiful cabinets, So some people do, and they actually go crazy. That they go with the LED lighting that changes different colors, but I don't know if many investors do it. I haven't seen much of it. So this is another gray cabinet finish. So probably out of those new gray finishes that came out, I probably have close to 10 new finishes. And as you see on this one, it's more bluish, grayish, so very beautiful. There are some very nice new finishes that they're coming out with. And this one has just your level 1 granite. This is Viscant White is the name of this granite. Really beautiful. Be careful with it though, it could get really crazy. This Viscant White could be very calm color, or it could be very crazy, lots of variation on it. So, but this turned out really, really beautiful. So again, white cabinets on the top, darker on the bottom, beautiful countertop, and it works really, really well. This is the same kitchen. So what they've done here, white cabinets, they've done the darker island. And if you can see, on one side, the granite goes down to the floor. It's called waterfall.
Waterfall.
Yes, thank you. Now, he didn't do waterfall on both sides because it's more expensive. He did the waterfall here because when you come into the house, this is South Philly, you come into the house and you can see right through the house and you see a beautiful island. So that's what he's done, and it's really, really beautiful. So he used the darker cabinets on the island and the white kitchen here. There's the blue. Blue is coming in now, and we've done actually a few kitchens where people would just purchase completely blue kitchen. A little bit out there for me. I think when investors ask me, hey Alex, what do you think about the blue cabinets? I go, it's probably more, it's it will narrow down your customer pool because not a lot of people will like it. It's good for an accent. Beautiful, I think next slide has a beautiful, navy blue island, which is amazing. It looks really good and people like this. So grays and blues for an accent color is really, really good.
Alex,
Right.
a question.
Yes, sir.
You haven't mentioned connecting bathroom finishes with kitchen finishes. Is that something you work on, think about, do, or you leave the bathrooms to somebody else.
So
Is there any connection between those designs?
depends on the investor. Some investors don't like putting same cabinets in a kitchen and in the bathroom.
Well, maybe not same cabinets, but where the design was thought through, if you know what I'm saying.
Sure. Well, the picture that Sally was showing of the bathroom, I remember that bathroom because I was out to that house. The true answer is that, for example, when I come into the house and I look at the few bathrooms, right? Usually powder room and things like that, I can't even touch Home Depot or Lowe's prices for their combo units. I know they're particle board. I really don't carry particle board. My stuff is all wood and it closes softly and all, but for the master bathrooms where you have the room for the double vanity, right, where you have the room to do something nice on the countertop and you'll do beautiful backsplash, that's what I come in. We do quite a bit of those, and we can do the makeup areas, we can do the knee drawers. We've done so many bathrooms where we would actually drop the cabinets on both sides, connect them with the valances. The customers will put mirrors in, beautiful lighting. So we do all of those. There's so many things in the bathroom that you can do, different drawer types. We also have the furniture type vanities on our website. You can take a look. Oops, sorry, I clicked it wrong. So those are really popular as well. But what we're good at is whenever you have, let's say, a 66-inch run that you really can't purchase a standard vanity, that's where we come in. Because we can, combine a few different sizes in, and then we'll just make a custom top, and you can have an oval sink or a square sink, undermount, or sitting on the top like a vessel. Those, there's a lot of cool things like that. All right, well, few quick things that I want to point out that's very, very cool. I'm a little over 20 minutes. Do I have?
Keep it's okay. If anybody has to leave, they'll leave, but I think this is important.
So this is a cool option that I have certain investors that always put one in. Customers love it. It's not that expensive, and it's solid. It's a wood box. You pull it out, close it. It closes softly, so it's a great function. So it's not expensive, but it adds to the function of the cabinets. Farm sinks, we kind of touched briefly on it. Farm sinks are so a lot of people love them, but a lot of times investors don't want to deal with it. It's like, oh, it's something extra, and if they don't have a good contractor, they say, well, I don't know if I want to get into it. I'll just get an undermount sink and that's it. But I have some investors that always do a farm sink. They love it. Looks really good in my opinion. So that's as far as that. Different options like, sometimes if you have a smaller kitchen and you want to give something a little extra for a customer, this is really not that expensive. This is a 2-tier drawer. So it's a regular height drawer, right, where you pull the drawer open and then push back the first layer, and then you have more storage underneath. So if you have a limited amount of drawers, this could be really, really useful. And again, not a lot of investors know about this. And again, it's not expensive. It will come already installed from us in a cabinet. You don't have to do anything. My guys will do all of it. And it closes softly. It's amazing. Flip down trays. Very, very inexpensive. I think a flip down tray is like, I don't know, $25 or something like that. So, but you can have it where, right where the sink is, if you're doing, an undermount sink. And it's pretty cool. Again, not a lot of investors do it. Some of them just always put it in, and in my opinion, it's really inexpensive, and it adds to the kitchen. Pot fillers. So this is an interesting feature that, again, a lot of investors just don't think about. I go into so many houses where your walls are open. For you to run another water line to where the stove is going to be, it's nothing, and it's a cool function. So you guys might want to take a note of that.
Alex?
Yes. Sure.
When Sally was talking, the question was asked about the microwave. But here we're seeing the microwave at the regular height. So could you comment on that? And then second thing I wanted to ask you about is, does that pot filler always go in the center, or can it be off to the side? I know it can be off to the side, but what do you see?
So I think I'm not really qualified to answer the construction side of questions because we don't install them. I see them around. Depending, I think Sally might comment on that. Depending on the pot filler, it's probably could be installed to the side. It doesn't have to be in the center, as far as I imagine. As far as the microwaves, we're gonna get into microwaves in a moment. I'm gonna microwaves a little bit, but yeah, they're flexible. I'm sure there's different types of them that you can use. So, and we'll talk about the microwave in a moment. This is a cool option where you just touch the faucet and it just turns on. Again, it's a little bit more expensive for a higher end property. It might be, might worth it. Microwaves. I do a lot of kitchens nowadays where people like to put out those range hoods, stainless steel range hoods, and then you have a question, well, where do you put the microwave? And in that kitchen where Sally was showing you the picture of, we had that space where we just, I forget if we did the shelf for you and you put in a regular one, or was over the range microwave that you guys hang there?
Over the range.
Over the range. That's the easiest a lot of times. And it's bigger also. So when I go out to measure a kitchen and when we have the issue of where to put the microwave, just recently I was in South Philadelphia. The kitchens are not that big, so for you to put the microwave onto the counter, you're limiting yourself. So we actually had a small peninsula, about 48 inches from the wall, and we've put in a microwave underneath. Now, this is a big topic, so let me just take a few steps and kind of go through it. First, let me explain the few different types of microwaves, and then we'll talk about the installation of them. So the one that's on the picture, this is a microwave drawer. You touch a button and it opens automatically, just like this way you would put in your, the food that you're trying to heat up, you just drop it down, right? And then you touch the button, it closes, heats it, and it opens up. Really cool. But the cheapest one that's 24 inches wide is like probably $900. Okay? But guess what? I have a solution. So this is a regular microwave that you would hang over the range, right? This is nothing special. This microwave is probably, what, $350 or so, maybe even less. So what you would do, and the way this particular microwave is installed, there's no special cabinet around it. Underneath of it, there's two doors. That's a regular cabinet, wall cabinet, which is only about 12 inches deep. So contractor built an extra frame in the back so the microwave can sit in. And that's it. And then there's a little filler. You can kind of see it a little bit. There's a little filler right underneath the countertop to cover the gap. Usually you'll end up with like 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch gap. Put in a filler and it's done. There's a downside to it though. Can't see the buttons is one thing, but every time you're trying to heat up a bowl of soup, you always have to squat down and, so you can put it in without spilling the soup, right? So again, this looks good. People really don't realize, when they walk through the house, they see there's a microwave, it looks good, until they start using it. So I've asked those kind of questions. I'm going out, beautiful house, and they go, let's put the microwave underneath. And I go, well, they're like, oh, it's not my house, and it's going to sell. So again, when you have the issue of the microwave, you're trying to put in the range hood over the stove, you're thinking, where should you put the microwave? Now, I know Bill has done this a few times where you had some more cabinets on the other side, and you just put in the microwave on the other side, and between cabinets, make sure it's symmetrical and it works, right? A lot of times you can, if it's an L shape, right, and if there is space by the refrigerator, I always try to put microwave by the refrigerator so it's not breaking up the line of cabinets anymore. So depending on the design of the kitchen, you can place the microwave in the different spaces, but a lot of times you would end up with a beautiful kitchen and you really don't have any more room on the wall to place your microwave. So this is what you would do. You would put it on the bottom. So again, going back to this microwave goes on into the cabinet, and it has the built-in look, and it's more expensive, probably for a little bit higher end property, but this is a very simple fix where this is a regular over-the-range microwave, and you put it on the bottom, and it just sits there. So anyone has any more questions about the microwave? Did I explain it well? Because I know a lot of people ask me about this. Cool deal. Let's move. So we kind of,
Alex,
yes,
Alex,
sir.
I thought because your lead up to that design was so intense, I thought you were going to tell us that the microwave came out and then lifted up to eye level. See, that's what I was expecting you to tell us.
But I saved you probably at least $1,000.
Jacob will buy one of those right away.
Okay, so let's recap quickly here. Why, it's been popular. It's going to stay depending in the different forms. But we talked about the new grays. We talked about mixing white with grays and now the blues. Actually, greens are coming in as well. More accent colors. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Antique white is always around. Modern wood grains are always around as well. Let's see here. We talked about double trash cans, farm sinks, drawers, organizers, microwave drawers versus regular ones, and faucet types. I've put up like few most popular questions that I get asked. Should I go through them now or?
Well, I'm sure that would be helpful, but I was going to ask a question which I don't see you have listed here, is do people ask for having built-in television sets in their kitchens? And if so, how does that get integrated?
I recently measured the kitchen in Newtown Square, media area out there. Beautiful, beautiful property. The way I would answer it, and this is what has really happened in that kitchen, nowadays we're looking for more open spaces. So usually TVs are not in the kitchens anymore because the walls are gone, and usually if there's a TV, it's probably going to be somewhere in the dining room or in the adjacent room where the dining room table is. So that's just my experience. That's what I've seen. What people have asked me is, hey, Alex, can we do a TV stand with some shelves and things like that? And my response is yes, I've done quite a few of them. They turn out to be, on the more expensive side. So I say, hey, if you're trying to do something very inexpensive, buy a shelf, buy something that's pre-made. It's probably going to be particle board, but that's probably the least expensive way. I've done a number of libraries, again, but that's more on the retail side, I think. But they're beautiful. So I don't know if I answered the question about the TV. So this is a little tip, because you guys go into the kitchens and trying to see, how would you plan out the kitchen if you would move the walls and things like that. So what I usually do when I come in, look at the space. In my mind, I have to figure out the appliance placement first. If I can figure out the appliance placement first, I know how to lay out the kitchen. A lot of times an investor makes a mistake where I would come in and I would first ask, hey, what do you think? And they'll give me a layout, and they'll end up putting a fridge where you walk into the house and the first thing you see in the kitchen is a refrigerator. I don't think that's a great idea. So usually when I try to lay out the space, I come in, I look at the space, lay out the appliances first, and then, cabinets work themselves out. So that's one. Another thing, this is just for you guys to know. I walk into the house and, investor will say, "Hey, Alex, I want an island in here." And the way you kind of do the math in your mind is you want to have minimum of 36-inch clearance on the inside of the kitchen from the island to where, the other adjacent cabinets are. Now, by the book, if there's going to be two people working or preparing meals in the kitchen, you really want to have 48 inches. That's comfortable. 42 is right there in the middle, right? But 36 is more or less a minimum. So when you're looking at the space and trying to figure out if you can fit in an island, those are the measurements you kind of want to remember. Let's see here. Overhang on the island. It's usually about 12 inches. If you don't have that much more room, I would probably go to about an 8-inch minimum, and you can still, kind of use the counter and have a chair and use it, so minimum overhang on the island would be 8 inches. Anyhow, that's it for me. If you guys have any questions, I would love to take them now.
Any questions?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Gary, get a mic, please.
So whatever happened to a classic cherry for cabinets? Are they still in? I thought that would never go away.
So, very interesting. Cherry cabinets, the only people that buy cherry cabinets from me is investors that are formerly from the Soviet Union. They're stuck.
Is that a growing business?
Oh boy, I'm not going to answer that question because anyhow, but cherry cabinets I really don't sell for flips almost never. I have a few contractors that buy it from me. Retail customers buy cherry cabinets, but for flip, I have this one guy texts me the sizes, we deliver, and that's it. But I rarely sell cherry cabinets for a flip. That's my answer. Yeah. Apartments, maybe, but retail customers, I do quite a bit. I have beautiful, classic cherry is more simpler raised panel. I have more with like this black glazing inside. That I sell. Retail customers love that. But for a flip, for investment property, I really can't remember last time we installed one.
Vita? Go ahead.
So there was a picture there somewhere in the middle where you said it was a combination of stock cabinetry and custom. So how does that work if you only do stock cabinetry?
So we work with 9 different manufacturers. So I have cabinets that are really inexpensive, and I have cabinets that manufacturers that do semi-custom work.
So
right?
you do semi-custom
yes,
then?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, we do. I've done, you guys probably know Brad Kingston. He had a house a few years ago I did for him. I have beautiful pictures. We did beautiful corbels. So if the island is about this high, we did corbels that actually went all the way down to the floor. It was a custom island. It was expensive property. He did wood hood and all of that stuff. So we do going into the semi-custom.
So those corbels that were from the semi-custom line, right? Or did he have to do that?
Whatever you've seen here, more or less, was all standard. On the gray kitchen, there was a few custom cabinets. There was one that was, so whenever you have the double row of cabinets on the wall, you probably will end up with some of the custom cabinets. For example, they had a pantry. Pantry was 18 inches wide. So on the top, we had to match the cabinet. So it had to be 18 inches wide by 18 inches high. 18 inches wide by 18 inches high is not a stock cabinet size. So it was made.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And then my second question is, maybe this answers it. So you do provide designs, or do you only work with those retail customers or flippers that have design already finalized?
I work with a lot of investors from DIG. I love my customers. What we do, we come out to their properties. A lot of times, so depending on the property, I have certain investors that I come out before anything is done. They just get the property, I'll come out, the walls are there, demolition is not done yet, right? But they're in the process of figuring out budgets, in the process of talking to the contractors, trying to figure out what's going on and how they want to move the project in. So I come out, we talk about the potential kitchen layout, I measure the space, in my design software, we remove walls, move windows, move doors, whatever needs to be done, and then we'll provide the 3D pictures and the floor plan. Once the work is done, once the frame is in, I'll come back, remeasure it, account for the drywall, and it's done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, well, Alex, you'll stick around for more questions later on. Let's give Alex a great round of applause.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Patrick, you're next. So this, Patrick, give me a moment to bring up your slide deck. Patrick is from Best Buy, is that right?
Yes.
So why don't you introduce yourself while I get your slide deck up, okay?
Sure. So my name is Pat.Benecke. I'm at the Best Buy in Montgomeryville. I've been doing appliances, sales management for about 7 years now, and I love it. It's a traditionally boring topic, but I like it a lot. By the way, that microwave that Alex mentioned, which normally goes for about $1,000, we can get for about $699. So just so you know, you can hit me up later as my little plug. Try to give you some good deals here. This is my first STIG presentation, so go easy on me. I'll try to answer the questions as best I can. You can ask them during the presentation or after, whichever works better for you.
Was that the drawer microwave?
Yes, so the main manufacturer of that is Sharp. KitchenAid also has one. They usually do run about $1,000, but you can work out a custom deal if need be. So let's start here. So like I said, my name is Patrick. I've been selling appliances for a good amount of time now. A lot of you are probably thinking, what is Best Buy doing here? I had no idea they sold appliances. I usually go to Home Depot, Gerhardt's, Lowe's, whatever. Well, Best Buy has been selling appliances for quite some time now. And working at Best Buy, I have a unique insight on the latest trends, cutting-edge technology, various things, and that's what I'm here to talk to you about. So I have two main topics today. The first one you see here is premium finishes. And just keep in mind the general theme with this entire presentation is it's really designed for the future. So millennials, or really the busy and the lazy. People are starting to get some money now and put into their homes, and we're starting to see a main theme here, and that's black stainless steel. So black stainless steel you may have seen pop up a little bit ago. KitchenAid was the first one, and Samsung later came out with it. So not only does it look nice, try not to keep looking at this, I'm sorry, but it's fingerprint resistant. So if you think about, if you go into an appliance store or in your own home, you have kids, you see fingerprints everywhere, this is kind of the remedy to that. Or even animals, or again, children. You don't have to use harsh chemicals to clean the black stainless steel. So we've definitely seen this an increase. GE did a study recently, and we pretty much agree with it. About 50-50 now, we're seeing stainless steel and black stainless. Gone are the days of bisque, or I think you said avocado before, whatever that color was. Black stainless steel is really in, and it matches with pretty much everything. Now, you may be thinking, I don't want to spend more money on black stainless steel. You really don't have to. So KitchenAid was the first big brand, and they're kind of on the higher end of the spectrum. But now Frigidaire has it, Whirlpool has it, Insignia, our in-home brand, has it, LG has it, everyone has it. So you can really pick the poison of your choosing there. This is an example of a KitchenAid. So again, this is going to be a premium end there. KitchenAid's made by Whirlpool, and you can see there you have the hood, you have the dishwasher, black stainless, and you have the refrigerator, more of a built-in kind of look there. GE has kind of more of a retro look, if you like that style. GE has another color, which we'll get into a little bit later, that they've been very successful with. This is LG, so this will probably be more of your newer customers, so a little bit more futuristic there. You'll see that the refrigerator there has a screen on it called the InstaView that you can knock onto it. It'll light up. You can see what's inside of it. It's very energy efficient. Newer customers are pretty keen on that. This is Samsung. Now, a lot of people think Samsung is expensive, and it's really not. They usually have the biggest bang for buck. They have sales all year, and they usually have on top of that additional incentives, whether it be a 10% back rebate, a free television, which is a great gift for a new home. Recently they did a free Alexa or Google Home with the purchase of it. So that ties into a lot of these appliances. And they have the widest amount of SKUs, so from your builder's grade all the way up to your high-end products. This is Frigidaire. This is probably what a lot of you have purchased. If you're just looking to get something inexpensive to put in the home, to just flip it, or just something to get in there. They now have black stainless steel. They have another line called Frigidaire Gallery, which is a little bit more nicer looking, a little bit more better performance out of it. Probably next to Samsung, your biggest bang for buck when it comes to finishes. Okay, so I mentioned it earlier. This is GE, and they have slate and black slate. A little bit more of a stone-inspired finish. What I really like about this is the one con to black stainless steel is that it can chip. And if that coating comes off, there's nothing really you can do about it. GE has touch-up paint, so you can get a nice scratch and dent from a Sears outlet or Best Buy or wherever you go. You can touch it up, save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, depending on the suite you're looking at. This has been very popular. For some reason, in shore homes, it's been very popular with the slate and black slate. You'll see the white cabinets there again. There's a better picture. This refrigerator actually has a Keurig built into it, so you can set it to dispense your coffee in the morning when you're getting ready for work. This is the regular slate here. So this was probably the first premium finish that we really saw in the market. Been very successful with it. Again, a lot of SKUs for this model. You can really mix and match. You don't have to go high end with it. It's very affordable, and they usually do have additional rebates as well. So let's just say you're not interested in any of those colors. You can do regular fingerprint-resistant stainless steel. The most popular out of that's going to be Frigidaire Gallery. Very inexpensive. Again, you can find it pretty much anywhere. And the other brands have kind of followed suit. So Maytag now has their standard new line is fingerprint-resistant. Whirlpool, their new line is now fingerprint-resistant. KitchenAid has an offering called Print Shield that's fingerprint resistant. So we're really starting to see that trend, and people don't want to get regular stainless steel now because they're going to have to clean it. Again, the busy or the lazy customer is not going to want to clean that. I went backwards there, sorry. So there's a Maytag. There's those ugly cabinets, Alex, we can fix that. Some white cabinets again. This is a Frigidaire option here, with a little microwave built in there. So I mentioned it before, this is a Frigidaire Gallery. You don't have to use harsh chemicals to clean the fingerprint-resistant finish, which is really nice. You just need a microfiber cloth and some water. You don't have to worry about your kids touching it, getting something in their mouth that you don't want them to. This is really good for families. We've seen this. And again, people don't want fingerprint-prone appliances anymore. So the next feature I'm going to get into are smart features, and this is a little bit of a controversial thing, but working at Best Buy, we've started to see, definitely have seen an incline of smart appliances. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, I don't want that, customers don't want that, it just sounds like something that's going to convolute things. It really doesn't. So the most common smart appliances are just app controlled, and they're completely optional. They're just built into the appliance. You can get them from your entry level to your high end, and you can control or view your appliance from your phone. Almost everybody has a smartphone now. So in this example, this is a washer and dryer. Now, if you're like me, I've done this plenty of times. I've thrown in my laundry into the wash, started, walked away, and never came back. Completely forgot. My clothes got moldy. They smelled or whatever. And I had to wash them again. Here, this will give you an update or alert when the cycle is completely finished. And younger people eat this up. They absolutely love it. This is included in a lot of the Samsungs and LGs and even Whirlpool now. I'm not sure why that image didn't load properly there, but This is called Scan to Cook. So Whirlpool has a feature, just included with the unit, where you can scan the UPC on the box of a product. It links it into your oven. You put the product in there, it knows exactly what to do. You don't have to do any thinking. You know, somebody comes home from work all day, I have to feed the kids. My smartphone tells the oven what to do, and I can walk away. This is a more practical one in my opinion. So let's say you go on vacation, or you left for work and you have no idea if you left the refrigerator door open. This app will tell you. So you can see the doors ajar. You go on vacation, you're not gonna think about the refrigerator when you're getting ready for that. You put it on a low energy mode. Why am I gonna pay for that? I just need it to keep on for whatever's in there. This is another laundry app. So with this, let's say you get an error on your washer. I don't know what that means. You know, I don't want to go call a manufacturer and waste my time. I don't want to pay a service person out here. I can simply scan the unit and it's going to tell me what the problem is, and I can figure it out myself within minutes rather than an hour of wasted time there. This again is included in most of our units and has been very popular. Samsung's kind of the pioneer in that, but it's free. It's completely free. You don't have to worry about it. And then finally, and I think Alex had this in his slide as well, this is called the Family Hub. So somebody mentioned about having a television in their kitchen. With this kind of has a dual purpose. So it's actually a tablet built inside the refrigerator that you could stream television to. You can also play music on it. People tend to congregate in the kitchen. There's actually cameras built inside of it that you can see what's in there. If you're at the grocery store, you could see, oh man, do I have mustard? Well, let me just check on my phone. Yes, I do. I need to buy it. And there's a lot of things you can do with it on top of that. So if you look to the side of it, you'll see a little thing there. It's called the Ring. That was actually just bought by Amazon, that company, for $1 billion. So what that does is a smart doorbell that you can sync to your refrigerator. If someone comes to the home, you can see who's at the door. Right in your refrigerator. No extra cost, subscription, anything like that, just through that product there. So we're definitely seeing, it's very weird, right? But in Best Buy, we're seeing a lot of investment in home security. We're seeing smart homes be very popular. Since I've created this slide, Best Buy just announced a program called the In-Home Advisor, where we can come out there free of charge and can tell you completely what you can do as far as security for the house, for the appliances, everything. We can design the whole layout for you, and they can bring you out right in the home. So this is something that's going to be on the wave of the future, not maybe there yet with a lot of people that are starting out with flips. We kind of talked about the entry-level spectrum with the Frigidaire, with the fingerprint resistance, and the black stainless. And then this is on that opposite end there where, you know, I want to go all out. This is a higher-end home. I want everything connected, smart lights, security. That's where you'd end up with.
Patrick?
Yes.
Go back to that refrigerator for a second.
Sure.
So refrigerators get replaced roughly every 10 years, more or less.
Yeah.
TVs get replaced much more frequently. So I don't want a 10-year TV in my 10-year refrigerator. How do you deal with that? How does this product account for that?
It's really just, it's simple. You don't have to plan out a TV. It's just kind of built in there. And let's say you replace the one in your living room probably pretty frequently, right? Every few years. Well, all it's doing is streaming from that TV to this refrigerator. So the refrigerator stays there and you can upgrade your home TV. It's just having that extra screen in your kitchen without having to plan around it.
And
sure, well, that's why we have the Geek Squad. We have the security for that.
They have a service contract for that. But the other question is, and I know I don't want to get off track here, but sure. All of these, what you're calling smart appliances, are very easily hackable. Okay, so from a security point of view, there's a lot of risk, and I don't know if the appliance companies have really addressed that yet. So I don't want to get off track with this, but I just wanted to point that out.
That's a very common concern with our customers. I mean, you could hack a washer, but what are you going to do? Like sabotage their laundry? There's not a whole lot that you can do with that right now. The cameras on this you can just only see the food. So I guess if somebody got into that, they can only see what you're eating. They can see what your diet is. But it's a fair point. It's not for everybody. It's definitely for a younger crowd that's more comfortable with social media and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gary, grab the mic.
Thanks. By the way, I've bought appliances from Patrick. He's a good guy. So anyway, my question is, with stainless steel, it tends to dent very easily. Is there any way to fix those dents?
No, not really, other than replacing the actual, you can buy replacement doors, things of that nature. The black stainless or the slate helps with that though. When you dent a stainless steel, you can see it, it's very reflective. With the darker finishes, you don't see it as much. So a lot of people like that. Delivery companies are notorious for denting appliances, and that's how you get so many good scratch and dent deals. Really what I recommend is if you come across a scratch and dent and the salesperson's willing to wheel and deal enough, you can get it down to the point where you can search the part number for the door and you can buy the door and replace it on there and still make out like a bandit with buying the scratch and dent if that's really an issue with you. And like I said about the slate and the black slate, you can buy touch-up paint, which you can't with stainless steel, and that's it. So that's really the remedy we found.
So another dumb question. Do some of these, yes, well, I have lots of dumb questions. A lot of these do these stainless steel appliances have a piece of steel, regular steel, behind them so that they become magnetic?
So the black stainless becomes magnetic. So that's the other thing.
It's not magnetic itself. It has a piece of steel
Correct.
Behind
it. But with the stainless steel, most of those models, you lost the ability to put magnets on them. With black stainless, you've gained that, and you don't have the fingerprint issue on there. So that's been very popular as well. Yeah, that's my answer on that. Any other questions? Sure.
Wait, we have a question from the Bearded Wonder.
No.
The Bearded Wonder.
I run into a situation a lot where I like to use a counter depth refrigerator. Are they getting more popular or more cheaper or anything?
Well, so they're definitely more popular. They're not getting more cheaper. The reason being is you have to put everything you have in a regular size refrigerator into a smaller cavity. So you tend to pay more for less. However, there's a lot of brands now that's only about $100 more for a counter depth. So it's not a substantial difference. And we're definitely seeing an increase in counter depth as a whole. People are looking for a more open floor space, a more flush kind of design, you have the built-in drawer. I would say, I mean, depending on the brand, it's only about $100 more. I don't know if that's substantial for you or not, but it's not that much.
Does that answer your question? Okay. The question I have is, from the point of view of selling appliances to flippers, in the case of a refrigerator, do people prefer the freezer on the top or the freezer on the bottom, or the freezer on the left or the freezer on the right?
So by far the most popular is the French door style, and that's the refrigeration on top and the freezer on the bottom. That is
that French door? I thought it was...
French door is the opening like this, yep, and then the freezer on the bottom.
Oh, so the refrigerator's on the top with a French door.
Correct.
And the refrigerator's on the top with a French door, and the freezer's on the bottom.
And actually, this model here is kind of a hybrid between a side-by-side and a French door. So the top is always refrigeration. The bottom left is always a freezer, and you can make this a fridge or a freezer. And that's in any of the Samsung. It's called a T-type French door, as you see there. The benefit of it is, and you can get it without the tablet, is when you go to a French door, some people complain that your freezer ends up just becoming, just a piled up stuff and you forget about it. Here you actually have drawers in the bottom there, so you can organize a little bit more. So it's better lifestyle, I guess. But overall, French door is the most popular. Some people can't fit French doors, so they'll go to a top mount, really only if they have to, like maybe in the city. But overall, we sell more French door. And that's...
Thank you.
You're welcome. I guess my information doesn't pop up there. Well, I'll give it to you guys individually, so that's...
Yeah, I have it on the slide.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Patrick. Why don't you stay there, Patrick, and I'm going to invite Sally and Alex to come up front so we can ask some more questions. Sally? Are you still here? Okay. So it's 8:37 or 8 right now, so maybe we could run till about 9 o'clock, so about another 20 minutes or so, if that's okay. So we have an opportunity to ask questions. Anybody have a question for Sally, Alex, or Patrick? Come on, guys. They're here for you. Go ahead, Lynn.
Sally, I was wondering, number one, do you buy like the farmhouse sinks online?
Actually, I did, yeah.
Okay. And as far as your company, are you looking for stuff to buy from wholesalers?
Always are, yes.
What? What's that?
I said we always are, yes.
Okay, that's my thought. Thanks.
Okay, any other questions?
Sally, do you have a preference of manufacturer for your appliances? And I guess for Pat, do you track the reliability of the different manufacturers of the appliances, and could you comment which ones are better or worse than others?
You want me to comment on the rod? So as far as reliability goes, your best bet are the Whirlpool brands. So Whirlpool owns KitchenAid, Amana, Maytag, Jenn-Air, if you're going very high end. They tend to have the lowest repair rates. They also have very good pricing, and their parts are very accessible and expensive if you do need to replace something. If you were to ask a repair person, they will also recommend Whirlpool brands. If you want more technology-based and kind of futuristic, you're aiming towards Samsung, but reliability, definitely Whirlpool.
Okay, we have...
And that's exactly what we do. We buy Samsung or Whirlpool.
Okay, guys, we have some questions on Slido, so I'll read them to you. The first one is question for Sally. When you were buying your fixtures and such on Amazon, is there any special wording you use for searching for these items? Grab the mic.
Well, it depends what you're looking for, but like, for example, if I'm looking for specific lighting, I'll say like pendant lighting or dining room lighting, or if I want a certain color, brushed nickel finish pendant lighting. Like, you can get as specific as you want, or you can leave it a little bit more open, and that'll give you a lot more variety. Does that answer the question?
Who asked that question? Raise your hand. Okay. Does that answer your question? Okay. The next one for Sally. What do you think of vessel sinks versus undermount for bathrooms? Also for kitchens, at what ARV price point are you using farm sinks versus undermounted?
Okay, so for the first one, I like a vessel sink maybe in a powder room. I'm not a huge fan of vessel sinks, but sometimes in a powder room it would be nice. I've only ever really used them when a customer asks me to use them, because we also do some remodels, so when the customer asks, we have, but I typically don't use them that much. And as far as the price point for a farm sink, I've only ever used farm sinks when I'm doing a remodel and the client has actually asked for one. I tend to do the big, deep stainless sinks in most of my clubs.
Who asked that question? Oh, okay. Did that answer your question? Okay. Next one, what type of fridge is currently popular? French door, freezer, on bottom, etc.?
Yeah, so again, French door is the most popular if you can fit it, and then top mount, I guess, if you couldn't. Side-by-sides are somewhere in the middle, but definitely French door is overall the most popular.
Who answered that question? Okay. Did that answer your question? Okay. So are there any other questions? Yes. Bonnie.
Sorry, another question for Sally. As far as when you do your renos, what decisions, like what changes your mind on whether or not you're going to put tile flooring in the kitchens versus just keeping it the same and consistent throughout the first floor?
I would typically try to make it consistent throughout the whole first floor. The only reason I would put tile in is if maybe there was nice hardwoods and that we weren't changing, then I would have had them refinished and do tile in the kitchen. But other than that, I'll typically go with one, the less changes in flooring, the better.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
So I have a question. Go ahead, Annie, let me ask my question, then you can follow up. For, let's say, a $250,000 ARV property, what would you say should be the total investment made in a kitchen, which would include everything, the floor, the cabinets, the appliances, the lighting, et cetera. You know, would a $20,000 budget or $25,000 or $30,000 budget sound
it's
about right?
probably in the $250,000 kit, it's probably gonna be like 15 or less.
15,000.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay. Does anybody agree or disagree with that? Bill, what would you spend for a $250,000 house? Do you want to answer that? 15,000, right answer. Okay, thank you. Annie, Annie, go ahead.
I wanted to go back to the appliance reliability question. I mean, by how much more is Whirlpool more reliable than the other brands? Could you also tell me like what brands are like least reliable and what you would steer away from? Like in terms of rental properties, which ones are more no headaches for the landlord?
Yeah, sure. That's a great question. So the reason why I said Whirlpool is they've had the lowest repair rates for over the past 15 years. There's various studies on it. If you go to Consumer Reports, they'll rank them very highly as well. As far as, I'm sorry, what was your second question? I already forgot it.
Oh, like how much more reliable are they than like the other brand, refrigerator or something like that?
So Samsung and LG, while they offer a lot of features, they do have a tendency, they have a lot more going on, so there's more to go wrong. If you're asking what I tend to see in flips, they generally do two brands, and it's other than Samsung, and there's Whirlpool and Frigidaire. The reason why they gravitate towards Whirlpool is a good price and it's very reliable. If there's an issue, the manufacturer is pretty good about helping them out. Frigidaire tends to be very low price, doesn't have a lot of features, but they stay out the door. We don't have a high return exchange rate on most of their entry-level products. The highest repair rate overall is probably a Samsung, but you know, you kind of, that has a TV in it, you know, so there's more to go wrong with it.
Do your answers also apply to like washers and dryers, like those brands as well?
Yeah, so what I could say is each brand excels in different appliances. So while Samsung makes a great laundry, for instance, their dishwashers are not that great. Their microwaves not that great. KitchenAid, a lot of people gravitate towards Bosch for dishwashers. Really, KitchenAid's the better brand. I mean, it has a heating element in there, so you can heat up to a higher temperature, you can kill bacteria. Our families like that, and there's a faster dry time to that. Bosch lacks that. So really, it's kind of model by model, brand by brand, of which excels. There's no real one company that does everything perfectly. The closest is probably a KitchenAid in performance and in quality, but other than that, there's no real, you know, go-to brand that masters everything.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Andy. Another Slido question. Thoughts on new luxury vinyl flooring products like Coratec Plus? Does it add or detract to a home's value? Who asked that question? Anyone? Oh, okay. You want to add to it?
So I just asked that because I recently looked at that. It's being marketed as a luxury product. They're saying they're putting it into $1 million homes. It's kind of like a vinyl laminate that clicks together, totally waterproof, highly durable, harder than some of the exotics. And I'm just curious if that would scare someone away that it wasn't a real wood product in a high-end home.
So I think it depends on the look of it. I just went to our house that we're flipping right now. We use a laminate on the first floor, but then there's like a laundry room floor, and it's a pretty big room. I bought an identical product to the laminate, but I brought it in a waterproof product that you're talking about. Yeah, vinyl. But I noticed that the vinyls have kind of like just like a weird finish. Now maybe as they develop them more, they'll get better. But it doesn't look as pretty as, you know, the higher end laminate. So I tend to look at the finish, but for a basement or a laundry room or somewhere where you're going to get water, it's a great product.
Alex, excuse me, could you take 2 steps to your right? And everybody take 2 steps to the right so that the camera doesn't pick up any of the screen. Or you can get closer to Sally, whatever you prefer. I don't care. Okay, next question. Cabinetry, is solid wood a must for a rental unit, or can you save money with composite components, or will it wear out so fast you'll spend more in the long run?
Wonderful question.
Who asked that question? Okay, same guy, okay. That's
So,
all right.
let me ask a question for landlords in the room. What usually breaks the fastest on the particle board cabinet? Thank you. So that's the answer. So in my house, I've done my kitchen probably 13 and a half years ago. Just got married on a budget, particle board cabinets, back in the day. To this day, they're like brand new. We take care of them. In apartments, tenants slam the drawers, and if you have the particle board drawer, there's two things going to happen. Probably the drawer front will fall off, right? And you will not have enough. And usually the drawer front does not just fall off by itself. It pulls together the face of the drawer itself, the box. So now the whole box is completely off. And because it's particle board, you can't secure it together unless you do some kind of metal L brackets or something like that. Number two thing that's going to happen to them, usually they have those white drawer tracks with a little wheel in the front. It's going to come off, promise you. So my answer to this question, whenever I talk to landlords, I have a very good solid wood cabinet, which is very inexpensive. Now the color is like this honey maple, so it's not really popular color, but you usually get an oak finish probably from Home Depot or Lowe's. The problem that I see with a lot of landlords is their contractor wouldn't plan ahead. So now they need the cabinets, and the only place that they can get them right away is Home Depot, and it's particle board. So plan ahead. I have great cabinets. There's a lot of different kitchen dealers, right, that you can go to. They have the wood cabinets that you can buy from them. Plan ahead, get a better cabinet. For example, another thing, my least expensive cabinets are about the same price as Home Depot's off the shelf, and they have ball bearing glides. So they're ball bearing. I think they're rated for like 75 to 100 pounds. And they're solid wood. And another thing to look for is dovetailed. So when the wood is connected, like finger joint, this is the best construction of the drawer because there's no screws to fall out either. Because a lot of times you might get a solid wood cabinet, but the drawers are not dovetailed. They're secured with the screws, and screws will fall off with years. So that's my take on that.
Sally, has that been your experience putting together your flips? That the particle board cabinets fall apart?
We don't use any particle board cabinets.
Okay, all right. So does that answer your question? Okay, so no particle board, call Alex. Okay, let's see, there's one more question here, actually two more. For luxury rehabs, has there been a demand for double ovens? Who asked that question? Anybody? No one asked the question? All right, the little Santa Claus asked the question. Anyway, for luxury rehabs, has there been a demand for double ovens? Patrick, you want to, or Sally?
Speak to it too. We've definitely seen an increase in demand for that, whether it be freestanding, which is kind of just the traditional oven, but it has two different drawers, or whether it be built-in. That's definitely something people are interested in. You can get a freestanding double oven for a lot less, obviously, than you can a built-in. But it's good. I mean, it's great for if you entertain. During the holidays, you get two things going at once. Or maybe it's just you and your significant other one night, and you just don't want to heat up that entire oven. You can just use one cavity. So we've definitely seen an increase in our sales for this higher-end homes.
Does that answer the question? Okay, another question here is for rental kitchen cabinets, do you need soft close?
If I may go back to the previous question, a lot of times when I go into more expensive properties, the kitchens a lot of times are larger, right? And therefore, you would see a double oven, or at the very minimum, a single oven. So that's my experience as far as designing. Soft close for the rental cabinets, you really don't need them, right? Again, if we go back to the drawers, for example, the cabinets that I have, the drawers are dovetailed, solid wood. So if you don't have the soft close, even if they slam it, they can break anything. But you really don't need soft close for rentals. Now, we also need to realize there's different types of rentals, because sometimes I would put in a white cabinet into a rental because someone is in a better neighborhood, and if that's what you're doing, yes, soft close is not that much more expensive when you're dealing with a better tenant, better area. So yeah, so for the less expensive rentals, just a regular wood finish. Majority of the time we don't do soft close, but for better units, yeah, when we do, let's say maybe a shaker that's dark wood, that already comes with soft close automatically, so you really can't even take it out. So depending on the rental type, I guess.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Annie? Okay, Annie's next question. Do you need hardware, knobs, et cetera, on kitchen cabinets and rentals versus what? You mean just having a pull, like some way of pulling the cabinet without a knob?
So my least expensive cabinet style has this notch, right, where you can just reach out underneath and pull the drawer. I still always recommend knobs, just because you go 5 years or 3-4 years ahead. If you don't have knobs, you will have stains on the finish. I promise you. Doesn't matter if you paid $10,000 for the cabinets. There's no knobs in the rental. They'll stain the doors because I go into a lot of different properties before they're renovated, and I see all kinds of things on the doors, and I see staining just because there's no knobs. So that's my take. I don't know if...
Okay, does that answer your question, Annie? Okay, any other questions? Yes, sir. Please feel free.
This one is regarding appliances. I don't know if you can answer this or not, but how does Home Depot, Lowe's, do they make their appliances to different specs, and how would they compare with like something Best Buy sells?
That's a very good question. Home Depot and Lowe's sell all the same brands we do. Occasionally they'll have specific SKUs that are exclusive to them, but still the same manufacturer, and we'll have a very similar model. As far as pricing goes, I know Lowe's and Home Depot have their card where you get additional 5% off. Home Depot has a membership as well. We're very aggressive with price matching that, or even trying to trim some fat off of the quotes they provide. So if there's something that you're interested in, what I invite you to do is just send it over to us, and I basically look at the cost of what they cost Best Buy, and I try to get it as close to that as possible. And if there's a model that they only sell, I bet you we have pretty much the same thing where they change one knob or something like that we could substitute for it, so you can complete your suite.
But I mean, I don't know if you know or not, if they're changing their specs to like a lot of Depot Lowe's stuff, they'll make it to their specs, the same brand name, but they'll have it specified so they can sell it cheaper, but it's made cheaper.
No, again, we tend to be less. I mean, they have their own models, but there's not really anything that they make cheaper that we don't have like an equivalent of. So no, you can get pretty much anything anywhere. The only retailer that has kind of their own exclusive thing would be Kenmore with Sears. Now, Kenmore is just a brand name. They don't make any of their products. So like their Rangers are made by Frigidaire. Their French door refrigerators are made by LG. So they kind of dabble in that, but any other retailer really is pretty similar. No major difference.
All right, thanks.
And actually, that's a really great set of questions. There is a Chinese manufacturer, the largest white goods manufacturer in China, called Haier, H-A-I-E-R. Do you guys carry that?
So they actually bought GE. So they're one company now. We do. Yes, we absolutely do.
They bought GE?
They bought GE appliances.
The white goods. Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I think so. The wholesaler of all of these different appliances that sell to you guys and Lowe's and Home Depot and so on, is it one wholesaler in the area that sells to all you guys, or are there different wholesalers? It's Lynn. I don't think that's the answer. In that case, yeah, no, wholesaling appliances, not
Maybe.
yeah, maybe. So is it one supplier that supplies to all you guys, or
For
are they?
Best Buy as a whole?
Well, Best Buy's Lowe's and Home Depot.
I guess it possibly could be the same person. That's more handled as far as Best Buy goes on a corporate level. They just have an account with each of those brands, and they buy up what they find is best. I don't know who supplies the other companies, but I'm sure it's.
And a related question, so we have the big box stores, of which you guys are one, and then there are we'll call it the boutique appliance stores. I won't name them, but we all know some of them. What's the difference?
So, I mean, we can just call it what it is. I mean, the big one's Gerhardt's, right? So that's the company a lot of people use, and they're a great company. We do have some advantages as a big box, though. For instance, we don't have restocking fees for a lot of our products, where some other companies may. We can hold products, you can put money down, and we can hold it up for like a year at a time. You can do partial pay. You can put 15% of the amount down on the appliances, and we can just hold it, and you can pay as you go if you're tight with money, if you want to be flexible with that. We have a price match guarantee, so when you buy from us, if you're just a standard customer, you have 15 days to price match, goes all the way up to 45 plus days. So we're very flexible in our pricing. And then we're nationwide, so let's say maybe you're at this meeting now, but you flip houses in Delaware, or Jersey, or Virginia, or Florida. We can deliver anywhere in the country. So we have a bigger reach than a lot of these mom and pop shops, which is one of our biggest advantages.
Well, thank you. That was a great answer. I think we're sort of coming towards the end of our time. Does anybody have any final questions? Okay, you want to grab my mic?
This is for the Best Buy. The service contract you guys have, who do you call for service for your appliances? Is it Best Buy or is it some third-party vendor?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we own a company called Geese Squad. So if you were to purchase extended coverage, I have a lady that flips houses and she gets the Geese Squad on all of them, because if there's something goes wrong with the tenant or the person that she sold the house to, they can just call the Geese Squad directly. They don't have to call her or bother her. And they're Best Buy employees, which means that we have direct line of sight to them. We can put priority to our customers versus people that just call Geese Squad for service calls. It's not a third party. It's not Bob's Repair, which definitely is one of our benefits. One of our strengths is that we own our repair people, and we have a parts company too, parts store. So a lot of the parts are more accessible to us, so we can get replacements if need be very fast as well.
And of course, the refrigerator will call you automatically and tell you that it's, or the washing machine will say, I need some more detergent. Before we give our speakers a round of applause, I told you before about the Amazon app that will save you money or will refund you money if the price changes. I found the name of it. It's Earny, E-A-R-N-Y. So just go to your phone app store and search for Earny, E-A-R-N-Y, and check it out. I just downloaded it, so I haven't used it yet. I don't have any comments, one way or the other. No more questions? Then it's 9 o'clock exactly. Any final questions? Let's give our panel a great round of applause. Thanks, guys. Great job. Thank you very much, Sally, Patrick, and Alex.